Welcome to ADHD Whiskey. My name is Matt. Today, we're reviewing a brand new whiskey from Jim Beam. And if that sounds familiar, it's because yesterday we did the same thing. Yesterday, we reviewed this, Winner's Reserve by Jim Beam. And I was very surprised by it. Was it a good surprise or a bad surprise? If you don't know, then click the video and watch it after this one. But just put it in your queue. Today, however, we're reviewing a different bourbon whiskey from Jim Beam, and it's this, the 7-year High Rye Baker's Single Barrel. America. Judging by the size of the stopper, you would think that the cork would go a little bit deeper, but it looks just like a little tiny... Never mind. Baker's 7-year single barrel high rye. Same mash bill as the old granddad recipe and the Basil Hayden recipe. 107 proof and 7 years, 9 months old. This baby was barreled in November 2016. From warehouse CL3, the serial number on this is quadruple 047 328. I've always been a firm believer that being different is something to be celebrated. Perhaps that's why single barrels hold a special place in my heart. Each one is a true original. Through limited releases like this one, we're once again celebrating what it means to be different. Made from a mash bill distinct from our signature bourbon, this release explores another side of the spirit. I hope you'll enjoy getting to know this one-of-a-kind character and the flavors that make it unique. And just as you'd expect, the bottle in your hand came from a single barrel. Take a sip and taste the difference. Baker Beam. I would imagine that's what Baker Beam sounded like. And if I'm wrong, then... sorry. The color on it is not super dark. The color on it is actually much lighter than I expected. But I've been wrong about other stuff too. Like how many calories I can eat in a day without turning into this. Well, what I'm experiencing here is what I would imagine a high rye Jim Beam would smell like. It does have some minty notes, a bit of a menthol to it, on top of some peanuts. For some reason, the high rye-ness in this rye mash bill is really exiting the glass and into my nose at a ferocious pace. If I were to smell this all by its lonesome, I might assume that this is a rye whiskey, which is weird. Like Andy's candies if you stored your Andy's candies in a jug of natural peanut butter. By the way, if you are a natural peanut butter eater, quick tip, store your jar upside down so when the oils settle to the top is actually the bottom. Boom. For more advice, you can buy my book when I write it. To be totally honest with you, I think I preferred the nose on the Jim Beam Winter's Reserve over this high rye Baker's offering. How much did this bottle cost me? Like 90 bucks, I think. I think it was like $89. And I think that I paid too much for it. I don't think that that's the MSRP. I think that I paid too much. Story of my life. Have you checked the price of Jell-O lately? I was at a local grocer and the Jell-O, the pre-made Jell-O things, $5 for 4 friggin' Jell-Os. How about no? This has a very beamy nose, if Beam and mint connected on a dating app. Let's go for a sip. Wow. That is very refreshingly nutty and minty. It has a bit of a buzz about it. A little bit of a tingle from the front of the palate to the back. Weirdly, I was expecting the high rye Beam profile to please me more because I do like Old Grandad 114. And I think I probably like Old Grandad 114 more than I like this. This is a rather sharp bourbon. It's kind of like razor blading the inside of my mouth with high rye notes and then filling those shallow cuts with the remains of nuts, like a nut duster remedy. Second sip. There's a bit of a ginger ale note here as well, almost like a Werner's. But what I like about a Werner's is this kind of like how spritzy and high noted it is. This shares some of the spritziness, but it's kind of like deeper and darker, and if it had a paintbrush that was coated in bitterness and it just ran that paintbrush down the center of your tongue, that's kind of what I'm picking up here. I guess it is possible for this bottle to tame down a little bit after it gets some air. Possibly some of the harshness that I'm getting off here, some of the abrasiveness. It's like a blunt sharpness on the tongue, which is a weird thing because those two seem counterintuitive or counteractive or counterproductive or counter tops. It's like if somebody bought one of those 11 blade razors from Glide or whatever they're called, Venus, and they just beat your tongue with it, just beat it, like blunt force trauma with a sharp object. It's kind of what it's doing to your tongue. It feels like the corn and the rye component of this bourbon are butting heads, and they're fighting, and they don't know what way to go. They don't know which direction to take. They're at odds with each other. They can't get along. If they were in a road trip across the country in a small automobile, they probably wouldn't make it 100 miles. One of them would want to use the map, the other one would want to use the GPS. One of them would like no music, the other one would want to listen to Kiss FM. It's just a bit disjointed, to steal a word from Cameron of Drums and Drams, and I feel like it's a pretty good word to use. Can this bottle get its shit together with a little bit of air? That's not up to me. That's up to Baker's 7-year high rye. I honestly thought I was gonna like this a lot. I do love Old Grandad 114, same mash bill, older, but 7 proof points lower. I thought this is gonna be great, but damn it, bummer. Baker's 7-year limited release high rye bourbon. Oh, it says limited release on it? It should have been good. It said it right on the bottle, it was limited release, or maybe they knew it was bad and that nobody else would want it for very long. Maybe that's the case. 6.5. It's fine. It's fine. If I were somewhere by myself and this bottle sat upon a shelf and I would like a pour of whiskey, would I drink it? Sure, absolutely. I'd have no problem with it. But if I had choices, brother, you would be like me in every single sport I've ever played. Chosen last. But look at me, I turned out just fine. So there's still hope for you. Thank you so much for watching. Hit subscribe if you're not subscribed. Hit the thumbs up. It's supposed to help the channel. Leave a comment down below. Baker's 7-year high rye. How did she go for you? I personally like the regular mash bill better for the Bakers, and I don't even love those that much. I actually like the small batch Bakers that came with the wax top that kind of looked like a Booker's bottle a lot more than I like the single barrels. And overall, Old Grandad 114, I'd take it every single day over this. Also, the Winter Reserve from Jim Beam, at like a third of the price or whatever, all day, every day is my jam over this. Which is strange because that's toasted and this is just bourbon. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. My name is Matt. This is ADHD Whiskey, like I always say. Keep your head in the clouds, but your mind. I'm checking all of your children's candy this Halloween. Times are weird. Times are weird. You never know what someone's gonna put in there. You know what I mean? You just never know. One year somebody put Pop-Tarts in my kids' Halloween candy, and I toasted them that night. And I ate them. They're brown sugar cinnamon, how could I not?